I'd like to call to order the June 13th regular meeting of the Harris County Board of Education. Our mission is ensuring an excellent education for every child in Harris County, and our vision is one community committed to the well-being and preparation of every student for lifelong success in a global society. At this time, would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, that would have been good. I almost lost my chair right there, so that would have been good on video. That will take us to item C, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the June 13th, 2024 monthly regular meeting agenda as presented. Okay, that doesn't count. Mr. Goodnow, second. Mr. Green, all in favor? So moved. And that will take us to item D, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached meeting minutes from the board meetings held in May of 2024. There are no revisions made to it, so I trust everyone agreed with those minutes. At this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve those. Mr. Lip, second. Mr. Proctor, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. At this time, that will take us to the public participation portion of our meeting. And Dr. Feeney, do we have any members of the public signed up to speak this evening?
No one has signed up or notified me that they wish to speak.
Any members of the public in the audience that didn't get an opportunity to sign up that want to speak? Okay. All right, so that will take us to our discussion agenda and item F1, the Harris County Board of Education listen to a curriculum department update from Dr. Patterson. And Dr. Denny. Sorry, you weren't on there. It's her show tonight.
That's all right. Mine's just quick. So I did reach out to Muskogee County. We do have a spring break date. It is the last week in March and last part of March, first part of April. So March 30th to April 3rd. And that completes the calendar.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you for reaching out.
Any questions for me? And I believe that is on the action agenda for tonight.
It is. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Patterson, good evening.
And on the next page, you see a report that I've prepared for you that I don't think you've seen this before, and I don't think we've ever had a discussion about this, but we want you to see it. In Harris County, in our school district, we value the importance of student achievement. And there is a piece to student achievement that happens every summer at Harris County High School. And you've heard us talk about summer school before, but I wanted you to see how it directly contributes to our overall student achievement and our graduation rate and other parts of student achievement. So before I get started, if you look at the pie chart at the top, the one that's in blue, that should be a 42. I'm sorry that that number does not show up clearly for you, but that's 42. So this summer, the summer of 2024, we have currently, at this time, had 208 students register for summer school. Now, some more may register for the July session, but at this time, as of today, the June session has ended, and I would just like to give you some figures. What you see in the top pie chart is the actual enrollment, the students, not just the ones that register, but the ones who actually showed up, enrolled in summer school for the June session. 51 kids enrolled in math, one of the math courses, 42 enrolled in one or more of the science courses, 14 social studies, and 21 ELA. So that's the breakdown of the 4 content areas. But I wanted you to look also at the pie chart at the bottom so you can see the percentage of kids enrolled in summer school broken down by course. At the time of the meeting, at the time of this meeting tonight, What, did I tell you 128 kids showed up for June? At the time of this meeting tonight, all but 22 of that 128 have successfully retaken a course in summer school.
Very good.
Yes. And this is how it impacts our kids. These kids are participative. 31 of the kids that are in the June session are rising 12th graders. And they're just trying to make their 12th grade year more secure. So for example, if they failed an English language arts class in their 11th grade year and they don't retake it in summer school, they're going to have to take 2 in order to graduate, along with all the other requirements. And they know that if they'll go ahead and get it over with in summer school, it will open the door for them to take an elective, to go to the Science and Technology Center, something they might not otherwise have. Of that number 128, 16 showed up in June to try to get promoted to the 10th grade. They had 6 credits, but they needed 7 to be a 10th grader. And as a result of going to summer school, they knew that they could be in the 10th grade. Of that number 128, 7 were trying to get promoted to the 11th grade. They had 13 credits and they needed 14. 7 are trying to get promoted to the 12th grade. They have 19 credits. They need 20 to be in the 12th grade. So you can see how the summer school program helps our kids who may have fallen behind in their credits and behind in their grade level. It helps them get caught back up so that when they come into the school year in August, they're in a better place. And it also, over time, it contributes to our graduation rate being what it should be. Do you have any questions for me about these graphs?
I'm going first.
What?
Dr. Patterson, I have a question. How many are signed up for the July session so far?
I don't know. I didn't look at that. I was focused on the June. Here's the thing. There were 128 for June. Then there are some for July, and there's some for June and July. Like there are 2 credits that they want to make up. And the 22 who did not complete it, they have that option usually to come back in July and finish up. But I can get that number and I can just send Dr. Feeney an email and he could forward it on to you guys.
Yes,
if you'd
ma'am.
like.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Mr. Lip,
Yeah, I was just curious, is this average enrollment?
This is normal.
Okay,
This is normal.
this is great information. Thank you for sharing.
I'm glad you can use it.
so I have another question. Do we have, and they must love school, but do we ever have any that just want to go to summer school because they're wanting another credit on something or trying to relax the pressures of senior year or something like that?
Summer school, they retake courses they
Okay,
have
so you
failed.
don't allow anybody to take a new course.
Well, no, and the reason we don't is, well, there can always be some exceptions, but the reason we don't like to do that is they are retaking a course in 10 days.
Ooh.
And for them to be, if we start awarding credit for a course that they took in 10 days that they should have spent a whole semester on, we're going to compromise the integrity of our academic program.
Agreed. Thank
Now,
you.
sometimes we have extenuating circumstances for children and we look at that.
Any other questions for Dr. Patterson? All right, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
That will take us to item F2, that the Harris County Board of Education listen to a Support Services Department update from Ms. Baker. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, good evening again. I just want to give you all an update on our pre-K program with our registrations. And before I go through the pre-K numbers, I know it looks like some of the math may be off, but these numbers are shifting because we have students that are in the wait list and students that are actually remaining almost enrolled. So the numbers are not really off. So the numbers you see at the bottom of each of these totals really are correct. Okay, so they're shifting. So first of all, when we notified everyone back in April that they were able to get their children enrolled into our pre-K program for 24-25, these are the numbers that we had. Each of the schools had, well, the 3 schools had 60 and 1 school had 80. And as you see, most of those slots for approved applicants were filled. One of our schools was overwhelmingly responded to have students in their pre-K program. Initially, we had some conversation about perhaps those students, especially at Park, that were on the wait list, sending them to other schools, but obviously with the zone in which they live, sending them from Park to other areas of the county could have been a burdensome hardship for their parents. So we made a request to DeKalb to see if we could get another pre-K unit opened at Park. So we were waiting and waiting. They finally opened, told us we could open a unit at Park. So the second chart that you see is the most current Park information based upon May 29th, which is when we were notified that we could open up a unit. So now Park and Pine Ridge both will have 4 pre-K units in their school. And as you see, Park is only 2 students away from having that last classroom full. So we wanted to give you that information because I forgot to bring it last week. My apologies. Dr. Finney and I talked about it, but I just neglected to bring it to you. But they are giving us quite a bit of money to make this a state-of-the-art pre-K classroom. We're getting $30,000 for a startup classroom. Typically, they give us $8,000. Along with that $30,000, they're also giving an additional $1,000 for materials and supplies and other resources to outfit the classroom with things that the teachers and the students will need to be successful.
What can that 30,000 go for?
It's a classroom startup.
What does that
Desks,
mean?
tables, chairs.
Not people.
Just imagine you have a classroom that's totally blank and you want to outfit the classroom so it is capable for teachers and students to operate. Not this 30,000. Yeah, they sponsored a teacher as well as a teacher's assistant, but this 30,000 is to totally outfit the entire classroom to make it teacher and instructional ready for the students.
Ms. Baker, will that one student on the wait list at Pine Ridge be offered a slot in one of those other?
Yes, if we do not get those other 2 slots filled at Park, it will always be offered to another student at another school on a wait list, and the parents have the option.
Pine Ridge will be offered one wherever that might.
The Pine Ridge, right now, the only vacancies that we have that he could possibly go to could be at Park, because with New Mountain Hill and Mulberry Creek having, well, 4 and 1, we're gonna try to reserve those for that school zone. If the parents do not respond and we do have openings there, then that will also be an option.
And the cutoff date is when?
The cutoff date was actually April 30th. But right now, with school starting in OLR in operation, after we look at OLR and it closes out, well, when not closes out, but when it actually, when the window closes, then we'll start opening up to other parents across the district. We may get some applications. We get applications all the time. So what you see here under wait list are actually the applications that we've actually received. Under slots remaining are the vacancies that are actually open in that school to fill that school to capacity. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Baker, on the 30,000, who is responsible for spending that? And what limitations may they have?
Well, there are limitations that we get from Georgia DeKalb. They send us an actual, it's about a 20 to 30-page document of suggestions that they would like for us to consider. And the principal, the teacher, pre-K director, we all get together and come up with what we want to put in that classroom. Then we get with facilities and operations. We make the order, and then that's how it becomes outfitted.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, they have some special requests. They give you options because they have a bid list of their own. And so when they send us their list is already vetted with the vendors. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, and along with that, that was just for that one classroom. Everything I just told you was for that one classroom at that one school. We've also gotten information that Georgia DeKalb is going to allot us an additional $57,746 as a special pre-K payment. And that's based upon the current 13 classrooms that we have. So each of those classrooms will receive basically $4,442. And so when that money is given to the district, it could be used for several purposes. And I've shown you here, it could be used for supporting classroom operations or supporting teacher salary and benefits. So we will, at the district, will decide how that's going to look to make sure that we can best suit the pre-K program. Yeah. And so we said a lot of it really benefited us. We're really grateful of that because we needed it this year for sure with that class at Park.
Excuse me, how many classes do they approve throughout the state each year? And,
I don't know throughout the state. I just know what we get here in Harris County. We went from having 3 classrooms per elementary school to having that one additional classroom at Pine Ridge, 3 years ago? And so now we have the 4 at Pine Ridge, 4 at Park, and the 3 at Mulberry and New Mountain Hill.
yeah, because I thought it was extremely difficult to try to get an extra class.
You have to have valid reason, valid support to show that you actually have a need. And in this case, obviously, we had a need because with Park's population, again, we did not want to make any disadvantages for the population getting from Park, which we know where many of those students live, to other areas of the county because they're so far south, everybody else is back toward north.
Yeah, because last year we had the waiting list at Park also.
North, south.
Any other questions for Ms. Baker? All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
All right, that will take us to item F3, that the Harris County Board of Education will listen to a facilities update from Mr. Fisher. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. All right, last week I was long-winded. This week I'll be short-winded, so we'll kind of balance it out. This week at Transportation, we had our state Department of Public Safety inspections. We had 112 buses that they ran through in 2 days. They knocked out 62 on Monday morning and in the last 50 Tuesday. We had all buses passed. We had a couple that had a couple things that broke as we're right there that they fixed real quick and got cleared with the inspectors. So all of our buses have passed and are good to roll, including our 2 new buses for next school year.
Okay.
Additionally, we have 6 drivers, potential drivers that are in training. They started last Monday and they're finishing up hours now. And they're getting ready to get their third-party testing they have to do at the different third-party sites. So, and we've started working on our July class, and right now I believe we have 3 permits already waiting to start that July class, and we've had 4 more that have applied. We're waiting for them to finish the testing and get their permits.
Mr. Fisher, I have a question about the 6 drivers that are in training currently.
Yes, sir.
Will they be road ready by the time school
Yes, sir.
starts? Okay, so
That-
they
that-
will
That
be,
is the plan, as long as they pass their third
Correct.
party.
correct. Okay, thank
The
you.
ones in July would not, because they have to do hours with students and they won't have the opportunity until August.
Okay, very good.
Sir,
Mr. Fisher, with these 6 drivers that will be road ready when school starts, does this get us back to where we need to be?
Yes, sir.
for school?
yes, sir. We finished the year in a pretty good situation. You had some people with some illnesses and whatnot, but that'll get us back to where we felt good in November, December timeframe.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question as well. So piggybacking on Mr. Green, I think he asked you more clear than was I, but there's no concern about drivers next year.
Not at
The
this
number of
point.
drivers, I should say.
Right, at this point, no.
Okay.
Things may change, but
Yeah,
at this point, no.
standing here today,
Standing here today, we're in a good
because
situation.
that's not always been the case at this
Exactly.
time of the
Yeah,
year.
unfortunately, things happen with our drivers.
Yeah, of
and
course.
They have to not be able to drive.
Yeah, I understood. And secondly, I just want to make a comment about the 112 buses that went through inspection and ask you to pass on to your team, Tim, and the group down there, Winston, just acknowledgement of what an efficient process. I mean, it amazes me every year when the report comes of the inspection and how quick it goes and smooth. And recognize that that is not a given.
It's not.
That is not a given. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of preparation to do that. And what that says is that our team, our fleet team, is maintaining our fleet throughout the year. And so
Exactly.
please carry back to them our appreciation.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else before I go on to the last topic?
No, sir.
Okay, so with our two new buses, we're going to need a fueling station. We've talked about that. We are in the last phases of negotiation with a company right now. We're working on some verbiage. The prices are good and everything. There's just some verbiage in there that we're hoping to get ironed out within the next week to where everyone's happy with it. So right now, until I have that ironed out, I want to kind of keep that under wraps who it is and whatnot until we have that official agreement with them.
Oh, will you get a tank down there at the motor pool?
Say again?
Will you get a tank down there?
Yes, sir. It'll be a tank down there. It'll be right now it's a 500-gallon tank is what we're looking at for the two buses. And they would fill it as needed.
So for those that may not know, he is referring to two propane buses
Yes,
that we
propane.
purchased. So,
They have been purchased.
well, they have
Yeah.
been purchased and they're here. Yes.
And the company's coming.
So now we got to
check
figure out a way to
tomorrow.
fill them up.
Well, I was gonna say, that's what the picture, he's bringing his gas tank off his grill.
The company has already agreed that until we get this set up and everything, they'll send a truck out here to fill them up. And what we're trying to do is make it worth the while that if we run one and it gets low, we'll run the other one and kind of get them all at one time. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
When we went to the conference last week, I went by the booth of the gentleman who were doing the buses and telling about everyone. And he was just bragging on Harris County, how we are ahead of the 2027 mandate of how all school systems will be required.
Right.
And I actually said they're requiring it. And he said, yes, 2027. You have to be showing that you're taking steps toward this. And he goes, congratulations, you guys are ahead of the curve. I was like, of course we are. Of course we are. Thank you. We
Yes,
knew
ma'am.
that. And so anyway, so thank you for working so diligently
Yes,
with
ma'am.
that and
Thank you.
keeping us up to date.
And that's all I have. Any other questions?
I did have a question. I've ridden by Mulberry now twice and the progress looks very good. Are you guys good with everything that's going
Yes,
on?
sir.
No
Um,
issues?
No issues. We had a little hiccup, but we just work together and solve the problem. And they're in the process of doing, they had to do a little bit different than we originally planned, but with some drainage things.
Gotcha. And that's going to be a gravel parking lot until the funds are available to pave it.
Yes, sir.
But the purpose of that parking lot is to get traffic off of 315, off the state highway and out of that neighborhood adjacent to it so that
Yes.
we're good neighbors to our neighbors.
Correct.
And our parents are safe waiting in line when they start getting in line at lunchtime to pick up their kids at 2:30.
Yes,
So,
sir. But yeah, it's going well and probably be finished in the next couple of weeks or so.
Okay.
Yes,
And I
sir.
must add, I saw the grading that was done at the Texan and it makes it look a whole lot.
It does look a
What,
lot
will I
better.
say different or better?
It has a cleaner look to it.
Yeah, you can
So-
now see the police car sitting there whenever you come around the turn without being hidden by the bushes.
well, I think in two, that fence was in such disrepair that's right there next to the roadway and the public sidewalk. The trees had grown through it and had attached themselves to the power line or the phone line or whatever it is above it. So
Yes.
that very much needed to be done.
And it's going to be nice when it's all done. Because we'll be putting some fencing back up at different locations in there.
Any other questions for Mr. Fisher? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that will take us to our action agenda and item G1, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the final draft of the FY 25 budget. Dr. Finney.
Okay, so we've had our two public hearings last week and this week. So we've met that requirement. I've had no significant questions or challenges to anything that is here. We have a general fund revenue of $71 million. And, we've all seen this, the special funds there. with all of our federal money and our SPOS is 10 million. Required from the fund equity, that's the number that, we have worked very hard, with the principals, with the, turn my mic on, with the principals, the assistant principals, and anybody that we could to get that number down. If you remember, we had several $1,000,000 that we were looking at. And so we've whittled that down to $118,000. So our estimated revenues in the fund equity is going to be $82 million.
And remind everyone that doesn't know this, SPOS funds can only be used for,
SPOS funds can only be used for capital expenditures that are outlined in the referendum language that we put before the voters. Capital expenditures are property, textbooks, vehicles, computers, those kind of things. E-SPOS money cannot be used for salaries. Yeah, yeah. Another important thing that it can be used is to service debt.
correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
one thing too, since you're making a comment in regards to what it can be used for, one thing too that I think we've done a good job at is GSBA usually looks at your budget, and if your personnel salaries is 80%, 84% or higher, then you've got some problems. And I think ours personnel is 80% of our budget. Is that, I think that's right, Ms. Seha? 82%. So that, lets everyone know that we're within the range of our personnel for what we have for our budget and not exceeding that.
And I would add to that, Mr. Goodnow, that everybody did a great job, including the board, in working to be intentional to absorb those personnel changes that we had to make without large scale RIF. And so the board's to be commended for that, as well as our human resources departments and our principals.
Any other discussion? All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve the final draft of the FY 25 budget. Mr. Proctor, second. Ms. Oliver, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. That will take us to item G2, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached proposed revision to policy GARHB, paid parental leave. And do we need to have Ms. Seha come up and cover this one more time, or is everybody good? Everybody good? Okay.
Well, I think everybody remember, that was in the class, that was in policy, we covered this in GSBA.
Yes, we did.
So this is just to get us back in compliance with what's mandated.
Right.
240 days, right?
240 hours, not 240 days. I was a little over indulgent there. Yeah.
Correct. All right, so I'll entertain a motion that we approve item G2, paid parental leave policy revision. Mr. Goodnow, seconded by Ms. Oliver. Any discussion? All in favor? So moved. And that will take us to item G3, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached revised FY 25 board meeting calendar. And Dr. Finney, I think you wanted to speak on this.
Yes, the change that we needed to make was the January meeting. We had the meeting scheduled basically the day we came back from January 2nd. So to get us back on schedule, we've moved the work session, the committee meeting, to January 7th. And then on January 9th, the day after, or the 2 days later, we'll have the regular meeting. That'll get us back on track.
Well, I think that will make it a lot easier. I know Ms. Seha's probably happy with that time frame, other than or the day after New Year's. That would be.
Yeah, it gives her a little bit
difficult.
more time to get the financial reports and
Get
everything in
that
order
done.
as well.
We want to make sure that we keep getting our monthly budget.
We get a monthly financial report every month. We do. All right, so there being no further discussion, at this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve item G3, the FY 25 Board of Education meeting calendar. Ms. Oliver, second. Mr. Goodnow, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. That will take us to item G4, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached proposed calendar for the 2025-2026 school year. And as Dr. Denny discussed earlier, we do have the date for spring break in there to coincide with Columbus because so many of our activities for our students are available down there and not in Harris County, so that we try to coincide with that. So at this time, if there is any discussion on that one? All right, so at this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve item G4, the 2025-2026 Harris County School Year Calendar. Mr. Green, seconded by Mr. Proctor. Any discussion? All in favor? So moved. That will take us to item G5, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached proposed out-of-state field trip request for the Harris County High School wrestling team. And as Coach gave us a very detailed itinerary down to the minute on their activities. And they are leaving Saturday, so if we don't approve this, we're gonna be in trouble. So I know we've discussed this. So at this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve item G5, the out-of-state field trip. Mr. Goodnow, second, and Mr. Green, any discussion?
I do have a discussion. item.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to say that I appreciate the detailed agenda, and that should be the standard for any of our teams that are planning out-of-state trips. I just want to say that.
So Coach Moore has set the bar high. I will let him know that. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? So moved. All right, that will take us to item G6, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached proposed list of surplus equipment. And I know we had some questions about this during the work session for Dr. Feeney about some of the equipment. Anyone have any other questions? All right, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion that we approve item G6, surplus equipment. Ms. Oliver, seconded by Mr. Lip. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, that will take us to item G7, that the Harris County Board of Education approve the request to submit a completed GSBA board recognition application for exemplary level prior to the due date of July 26, 2024. Now, I know we do have some questions about this. So Dr. Finney, you've done some checking on this?
Yes, thanks to some clarification on the process for a new superintendent. I've looked through all of those categories, and I think the best category, my recommendation would be to apply for the award, the exemplary award in strategic planning. And I say that because we've just completed our strategic plan. We as a leadership team have been working on that strategic plan, and we have started that process, if you remember, in March, where we're going through it with the boards to consistently and methodically monitor that strategic plan. So I think that's probably the best area for the application to be applied.
Very good.
Mr. Chair, I move that we take superintendent's recommendation and submit the application for exemplary board on the strategic plan.
All right. So a motion has been made to approve action item G7, the exemplary board to include our application for exemplary board on our strategic plan. So Mr. Lip has made a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Goodnow, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Dr. Finney, for clarifying that. All right, so that will take us to item G8, that the Harris County Board of Education review and approve the attached list of personnel to serve as tribunal panel members for the 2024-2025 school year. And this was presented during the work session as well. I don't think any of the names have changed, have they? Sir? No, sir. Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion that we approve item G8, the tribunal panel members for the 2024-2025 school year. Mr. Proctor, seconded by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Bless you, sir. All in favor? So moved. All right, so that will take us to our consent agenda. And item H1, that the Harris County Board of Education review the attached enrollment report for May of 2024. They will be separately because we did not have all of these items in our packet last week. Any questions involving the enrollment report? What I will do is we will run through all of the consent agenda items and then we will include them all in one vote. We will do that if no one has any objections. Okay. So that will take us to item H2. The Harris County Board of Education review for information only faculty handbooks and student parent handbooks from each school, as well as the district-wide handbook for the 2024-2025 school year. That was in your packets as well last week from Ms. Baker and her department. Did anyone have any questions regarding the handbooks? Yes, sir.
Say one thing, just kind of as a public service announcement. With 5,500 students and with the student handbooks, it would be nice if each of the parents would read that. So if things come up during the year, they're aware of the situation, other than not reading it and then something comes up, I'm like, well, I didn't know this. But we try to put everything up front in the handbook so everybody understands and aware of.
Good point. All right, so that will take us to item H3, that the Harris County Board of Education review the attached major purchases report from May of 2024. This was in our packets last week too as well, because we did have some questions for Dr. Finney. And we did discuss the fee for the Columbus Consolidated Government for the graduation rental of the Civic Center. Thank you, sir. Any questions regarding that one? All right, so that will take us to item H4, that the Harris County Board of Education review the attached financial report for May of 2024. Right. All right, any questions about that one? For Ms. Sahar or Dr. Finney? All right, so that will take us to item H5, that the Harris County Board of Education review the attached school nutrition report for May of 2024. Any questions regarding that one? All right. So at this time, I will entertain a motion that we take consent agenda items H1, the enrollment report, H2, the handbooks, H3, the major purchases report, H4, the financial report, and H5, the school nutrition report in one vote. Mr. Green, seconded. Ms. Oliver, any discussion? All in favor? So moved. All right, at this time, that will take us to item I on our agenda, where the board members share news and information they might have with the public. And this evening, I'm going to start with Ms. Oliver.
I was just gonna brag on our school system real quick, that going to GSBA and wearing our shirts and our Harris County logo and walking around and having vendors as well as other board members from other districts just say, hey, hats off, you guys are doing a great job. I saw this, or I noticed you guys are doing that, or on social media, I saw this. Congratulations on that. Man, it's a blessing. It was really great to go and to hear our peers say good job. And I went on Monday for the distribution for the meals for the families, and it just was such a blessing. I'm actually going to go back on Monday and help hand out things and get carts, because we had grandparents coming and getting things, because they've got all the grandkids and their homes, some 12 and 14, and they're all running around out there in the yard, and the grandma said, I've got them all, while their parents are at work. And I said, well, let me help you load your car. And 7 milks and 7 apple juices. Just do the math. It was a lot. Anyway, so in just a few hours, they did 5,012 meals. 5,000, thank you, friend. Thank you. 5,096 meals. It was like 300 and something people served. And they could walk to the window and say if they had what, and they were ready. Not only were they ready, y'all, but they were pleasant and kind. And those people had been standing out there for an hour, and they weren't upset. They were so grateful for what they were getting. And then the people to be greeted from a staff on the inside that was happy to serve them. The whole experience was a Hallmark movie. I just loved it. It was great. I'm taking some high schoolers back with me on Monday, and we're going to help load cars. And it's going to be great. So
Very good.
great job to Brad Johnson and everyone that was there last week. It was great. Good job.
Mr. Goodnow.
Well, I did enjoy the conference, except I got to do my at-home conference virtually since y'all were in person and all. But like I say, it's always interesting. As Harry and we were talking earlier, I like the breakdown of the different generations that they had and the symptoms of each one, I should say. But it was very interesting because it was kind of strange because I had been reading some stuff along those lines already. And I think that's probably the forefront of a lot of folks to be able to hire people and understand each generation on what you have to do to obtain those individuals and all. Even with us, we're hiring folks with that through HR and all. But I did have a chance to on Saturday. I rode up to the 4-H car wash. You know, the BB gun team. They're going to state and national championships, and they had some few folks up there getting their cars washed and stuff and everything. So I hope they did well and raised enough money to be able to get everyone to the state competition and all. But then again, too, thank you everyone for the budget. It's great that we can do that.
All right. Ms. Smith, do you have anything?
I'll never pass up an opportunity to speak in the microphone. It's always a pleasure just to join you all. You know, we represent a lot of school districts and some maybe not as calm sometimes, all working for similar purposes, but it's always just a pleasure to join you all. So happy to be here.
We're glad you're here with us this evening. Mr. Lip.
Thank you. I too enjoyed the conference. A lot of good information. The policy workshop specifically is good to explain policy changes from legislature that are coming down the path. There are quite a few to be made aware of, and it's always helpful to have GSBA to help us stay on the front of that, way ahead, so that we can prepare as well. I want to say congratulations to the shotgun team. They were in Savannah at the same time we were, and they had a very successful trip. And so kudos to those students. And I'll mention this as well to my fellow board members. Someone asked me about this. And I'll remind us, be mindful when we're speaking that we press the microphone, because if you ever watch this after the meeting, you'll realize who has their mic on and who does not. And that's not beneficial, right, to everybody that's listening. So I said I would, and so I did. So help our folks watching in TV land by being able to hear what you're saying. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Green.
Yes, I'd like to echo, I mean, GSBA conference is always good. I mean, it's always nice to get together as a team. It helps us build camaraderie amongst ourselves and also learn things that we need to know going forward as a board to make the best decisions for our constituents. As all of you mentioned, our shirts being recognized. Now, Mr. Ray and I, we walked across the street around lunchtime, and we actually got notice from an HC logo from a guy from Nebraska. He was a recruiter that was in the state of Georgia, and he was from Nebraska. He said, Harris County? We're like, yeah. So we have recognition across the country. So just to be, I want to one up you one, so, but I, also want to say, Ms. Baker, again, please tell your daughter again, congratulations on making YAC, which is a Youth Advisory Committee for GSBA. I hope she knows now, because I know she didn't last week. Because I know she was also at the JROTC Leaders Conference, I think that they had at CSU last week, and it sounded like they had a really good experience down there and got recognized for our JROTC program and all that kind of stuff. So again, congratulate her on being, that's a tremendous honor to represent Harris County on that council for sure. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Proctor.
I just want to echo what everybody else said. We all enjoyed the conference. I think my wife still got me on a diet from all the food I ate in there. And I hope everyone is having a very good summer.
Sure, can I take a mulligan? I failed to mention, I apologize, but.
Did you press the button?
I am, thank you.
Okay.
But I wanted to mention, and Mr. Green reminded me when he spoke about you from Nebraska. You know, we talk about the social media and the comments and the recognition. I think it's important that we say thank you to Miss Rachel Crumbly, who does a phenomenal job in spreading the word about what's going on in Harris County. And we have a great story to tell. And thankfully, Ms. Crumbly helps us tell that story, and I'm grateful for that.
Very good. Dr. Finney.
Well, I pushed the button. I too enjoyed GSBA. It was very informative, and it's already helped us make some adjustments that we need to make as far as policy and some of the things that we're doing. We had a real good principals retreat yesterday, and I call it a retreat because it was longer than normal. We spent all morning yesterday morning just sitting down with the strategic plan and ironing out some expectations and some roles and responsibilities and communication protocols. And I thought it was a good positive start, and I can't wait for our retreat in July when we get to kind of pick up in that same area. And it was just invigorating and energizing. And so I think we're headed in the right direction, and can't wait for you guys to get in there as well and learn everything that we talked about. So thank you.
All right. So I agree with everything that everyone said tonight, and I always get to go last, but I'm still gonna say Miss Baker, Mr. Johnson, the whole nutrition staff cannot say any words that haven't been said already by Ms. Oliver, but your team is doing a great job in our community, and they see it, and they are very appreciative. I was approached at the very hot Dollar General on 315 because they have no AC, but the other day by another grandmother who came up and put her arm underneath my arm, and I didn't know if I was fixing to be accosted or something. I didn't know what was going on, but she said, "You're on the school board, right?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, "I just want to tell you thank you, because I couldn't provide for my grandchildren if it weren't for the school system feeding during the summer." So congratulate, whatever accolades I can pass along, please let them know we appreciate their taking time out of their summer to provide for the citizens and the students of Harris County. It does not go unnoticed. Thank you. Did you have something you want to say? No. Oh, I'm sorry. And I also want to say to the citizens of Harris County that may be listening or may watch this, we do care about your thoughts. We do care about your lives. We do care about the impact that the decisions that this board makes affect you financially and your students. We understand that, and we welcome you to come to this forum and speak to us. Our doors are always open, and we always want you to feel that you are welcome to come and speak with us, and we will listen. So I would just like to say, if you want to be heard, please come. Our emails are available out on the website as well if you're more comfortable speaking to us in that formal setting. But please come and speak to us. We would like to hear from you. So at this time, That will take us, I will entertain a motion that we be excused to executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent, to discuss or vote to authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, or lease property, authorize ordering and appraisal related to the acquisition or disposal of real estate, enter into contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property subject to approval and a subsequent public vote, to consider a matter involving the disclosure of personally identifiable information from a student's educational records, and to consult with our legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought or to be brought against the school district or an officer or employee in which the officer or employee may directly be involved. At this time, I will entertain that motion. Mr. Lip, second. Mr. Green, any discussion? All in favor? We'll be excused to executive session. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion that we exit executive session. Mr. Proctor, seconded by Ms. Oliver. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, and at this time, I will entertain a motion that we accept the personnel recommendations made by the superintendent. Mr. Lip, seconded by Mr. Goodnow. Any discussion? All in favor? And at this time, I will make a motion that we adjourn for the evening. Do I have a second? Mr. Proctor, all in favor? We stand adjourned.